Trying to put a black man in his place only holds back the progress of humanity. Stepping down on another doesn't elevate you. It just keeps us all chained to the same old injustices. True progress comes when we lift each other up, not when we push each other down. I can drink to that.
Is that a beer you drink?
Yeah,
Is it
it's
local?
Dukes.
What's
Wait,
Dukes?
wait. I have to do my presentation. It's Dukes.
Dukes.
Is that local?
It's Jacksonville.
I
It's a
never heard
brown. It's a brown ale, Bowl City Brewery. It's who does it. I've had their little lager, the lager that they make, but I've never had this. So I got it while I was in World Market.
Cool.
All right, so we are minus Chuck today, so it's me. I'm not gonna really be long-winded in my this opening. So, as of the time of the recording, though, that's what 3 or 4 things that happened today. JD Vance pulled up on Kamala Harris's jet. Dumbass. He also took issue with a veteran's record who's been in the military 24 years, who's a sergeant major, and he was only a corporal. And also JD Vance again. The news is reporting, or the media is reporting on him contributing to a forward for a book for one of these conspiracy theorists, the ones that back Pizzagate and the babies being trafficked and from outside of the pizza, the ones that are eating baby people, whatever it is. Anyway, so it's just the three of us. We can like hit a lot of shit today. So I'm thinking that we probably can hit all of these questions at some point just through our stuff, but I'm thinking the theme today is with liberals and conservatives. There's a clear message of love versus hate, and you can kind of frame all of the messaging of what's coming from out of the liberal camp with love and what's coming out of the conservative camp with hate, plus a little bit of disinformation, which is straight out of the playbook anyway. So I wanted to lead off with talking about JD Vance, since he seems to be the flavor of these few hours for today. And Dante, I'm gonna let you go ahead and lead off with that. This is not a question. We're just gonna start talking and freeballing on this shit.
James David Bowman, his birth name. No, excuse me. It's James Donald Bowman. He changed it to James David and then to James something else. What the fuck ever. I've said this 1,000 times. If the Republican Party were actually stuck to subject and were orators in their subject, they will be powerful. I'm going to go back to Reagan, Bush second. They always stayed on subject. They never veered like Trump does. And JD has picked up that trait very quickly since his nomination. And so the exercise, as somebody said, of white privileges in one of the comment sections of his things that he's done today, he has no clue, and I honestly don't think Donald really likes him right now. Be totally honest, he's just there. Be perfectly honest, Donald just wanted to be by himself and run his campaign to be quote unquote president. The evidence is very clear. That's right. There are two different messages. One is of hate or the divisiveness and not bringing the people together, and one is, as our future Vice President Tim Wall said, is about being joy, bringing back joy, and bringing back people together. They showed the two pictures, like for example, they showed the two pictures. Trump had where Kamala and Tim had their rally yesterday in Pennsylvania. They showed the same pictures from when Donald had it a few weeks prior. Crowds are different. Well, Donald crowd was like 50% less.
That entire top tier was empty.
It was top tier was empty. So I say more like 65-70% less. But the energy was different. And so, they're not doing what I don't really care what they do, but they're not doing what they need to do to get the people. They're trying to use scare tactics, changing laws, getting these laws changed at the last 12th hour like they're doing in Georgia right now. He's motherfucking piece of shit, and for a short version of the answer. And I know we're gonna probably bring him up several times through today's show, but it's like the corporate kid. It's like the corporate kid who wanted a promotion, but he fucking up the job. Anyway, we'll talk more. Go ahead, Mike.
I have a limited response about J.D. Vance. I just don't think the subsequent evidence of who he is or who he says he is has any validation. The premise of his success, even as a VC, he wasn't a good investor even there. He doesn't really have any success. It's not like he has any, uniforms behind him that he invested into or anything that he's done successful. So the chameleon aspect that they keep trying to put on VP Harris, I don't see how you can call her a chameleon when 2 years ago this man hated Donald Trump and was on multiple platforms and multiple interviews talking about it, all the way down to the point where, in all ironicness of everything that we could experience, his previous roommate, who is now known as Amy, so a transgender woman, has all these negative things to say about him. So to me, that was kind of just like God's blessing of, oh, you gonna play in my face and talk negative about one of my children or a sector of my children. Let's expose that one of your best friends is now transgender. Are you now turning your back on your best friend? Let's expose 80 emails that shows what was really going on. Are you now going to turn your back on 80 emails? We are dealing with a mindset of ideologies versus policies. We're dealing with a mindset of hypotheticals versus facts. And I think that's more so what I want to target my discussion. I think everybody needs a view, and I just think quick research and data, which is kind of my thing, I want to target back on some of these factual elements, because as someone said to me, don't talk to him. He's a professional debater. All he's going to do is spew facts and data to break you down. And I had to stop and look at the person and say to them, I don't know if you thought that was an yes. Somebody said that for real.
Okay.
And I said to them, I'm not sure if you think that's an insult, but that didn't hurt me, that I'm going to be known for facts and data. And some things I can definitely detach myself from. So I think it's going to be an interesting run today, because with the topics you brought up, it's just a different perspective for today. So I'm ready to go.
Gotcha.
I actually want to add one. Actually, I want to add more things.
Before we go to that, go ahead.
I say, just to add with you, chameleon. That nigga done changed his name 3 times. How you a chameleon? You done changed your name 3 times.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The question I have is, and this is not about JD Vance. I mean, JD Vance is the subject of the question. Do you really do we believe that the RNC recommended this cat? Did Trump choose him, or is he a plant for all the conspiracy theorists? Is he a plant to try to derail what's going on with Trump?
My short-term answer, without doing any research on it, would be probably a strategic implementation by Peter Thiel.
Thiel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Thiel has the juice, which again is still ironic to me because Peter Thiel is gay. So I believe it's the makings of Peter Thiel, and money will move things the way they want to, because JD Vance he just flew onto the radar. That was like a UFO showing up. I understand what everybody says about Waltz, but if you think about what happened with different riots and the situations we had in Minnesota, if you paid attention to pro-life, as our brother Roland Martin would like to say, from the womb to the tomb, Waltz did a lot of things that would actually suggest that pro-life, especially the free lunch and free breakfast campaign for the children at school. He's done things that have made great impact, but people, again, ideology versus facts and policies that have been put in place. So I don't think Waltz came out of the blue. It's just that nobody was paying attention to anything but President Biden and VP Harris. And the goal was, we're going to talk negative about it, but his ego, the hopeful ego of Biden, is that he would not drop out. Yeah. And so I think that puts you in a position where JD Vance would have to be a strategic pick of somebody that would be willing to transform themselves to the extent that they would become submissive to whatever Trump is going to do without worrying about the repercussion of the association with Trump. But they had to come with enough money. And
money would do that.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know why anybody is not paying attention to why is somebody running a political campaign for presidency again without their previous vice president. I don't know why we skip over the facts that if VP Harris was so bad, what if President Biden said, I'm going to run again, but I'm going to drop my VP? So we're missing a lot of things that are apparent that are just not standing out. And I'm going to give this analogy. I know we may touch on it later. Less of an analogy, but more of a standpoint. It kind of goes to the sayings of the, I don't know how to say this, but let's say centrist leaning Democrats, or let's just say the extremist Republicans, that were all saying, well, Attorney General Harris, or when she was a prosecutor, how can you support her when she locked up so many of her own? She locked up so many black people. Yeah. But now those same people are saying she's not black. So those two statements can't be true, because if she was locking up so many of her own, that would mean she was locking up a whole bunch of Indian people, right?
Add a third one though. The third thing was the opposite part of that was she wasn't strong enough on crime.
Right. So you kind of have to pick. And at the same time, I'm sorry, people, but weed was still illegal during the time frame she was there. Recreational marijuana did not come into play until California until 2016. She was a senator at that point. So you're mad that someone was doing their job. Should we be arrested for weed? We've started to fix that. They were one of the first states to fix that issue. But at the same time, it was still illegal at the time when people were arrested. So if we're going to talk about the statistics there, why don't we pull the records of how many other people were arrested for weed during the same time frame when she was serving as a prosecutor?
Yeah.
So.
And we go. I mean, you can literally end it off with this man since he's been picked for the VP, his approval rating in one of the battleground states has dropped over 35%. Ohio, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got somebody's approval rating that drops that fast, that far, and you just came out of what's supposed to be your boost of a convention, that's bad. That's real bad.
They're doing negative numbers. I'm sorry, Dante. They're doing negative numbers, what should be their honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Nobody is calculating what's about to happen when you have that DNC convention. And I'm not saying she will, but it's going to be a shakeup if VP Harris get Beyonce to come out there and actually sing Freedom.
Man.
She already had to call her to get rights for the music. That's why she was talking to her. She got clearance for that song. You know, you don't see like Isaac Hayes has to keep telling Trump to quit using his father's music.
Yeah.
You don't see her saying don't use that song. So if she mess around and get Beyonce to come perform,
that's a wrap.
They're gonna run out of that Meg Thee Stallion conversation.
Man.
But I want to touch on the question you asked. This is my opinion now. I think the RNC, even though they probably calculated that they might lose this year, it's going to be a race, but they're going to lose this year. They doing this to boot Donald out. Because you got to see all the people that backpedaled, like Nikki, who else backpedaled? Tim Scott always been on his job. The Byron Daniels.
So hold on, Dante. Are you saying like a strategic play where they actually are allowing him to tank without making him tank?
That's the point I was trying to make about, was he a plant to do that?
I don't even think JD.
It really looks like that.
I didn't look at it that way. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point, fellas. I don't think
it looks like that.
I don't think JD was necessarily a plant. I just think the money people, because they kind of had to eat. They kind of had to like. They was in a losing battle, but this is gonna be it. Like, ain't no more Donald after this. I honestly think they're gonna force him out.
No, I think what you're saying is right. I just don't think you finished the thought process, because with what said, JD Vance is not a key figure in the Valley in any way, shape, or form.
No,
he might have known some people that but so if you sacrifice him and you lose him along the way to rid yourself of Trump and MAGA, you've actually used somebody that you don't really care about. You can't do that to Nikki Haley. You actually care about her in the party. You may not like Tim Scott, but you can't sacrifice him in that way. So if what Said is saying, he was a plant for destruction.
Okay.
I don't think that was a. I literally don't think that was a Donald Trump choice.
I mean, be honest with you.
I know. Okay, so let me put it this way. Let me go back on what I was saying about the choice. I think that he could be a choice of Donald Trump, because I know Donald Trump wants to be number one honcho, and nobody destroys his glam. But I don't think he was the person that he wanted to pick to be that person, to be under him and subversive.
Who else was there?
Submissive to that.
Who else was there?
He could have picked anybody. The North Dakota governor. He could have picked South Dakota governor. He could have picked any of them, because none of them were going to outshine him.
Shit, hell.
You get what I'm saying?
If he was smart,
but they speak coherently,
and that's what he don't do. Anyway, I would, but if he really wanted to appeal to that 55% white women category, he should have told Nikki Haley.
And maybe he didn't want another Pence. Maybe he didn't want anybody that was going to be actually thinking about government.
And they have to have a fucking conscience. He didn't want another person that had another conscience.
I don't think that Vance was his pick, though. I really don't.
I don't know.
Somebody pushed that along and got that there.
I don't know who he could have picked. Now that y'all are putting it this way, it's making me think about it in a whole different way. But I would say losing Vance in the overall Republican Party does not hurt the Republican Party.
And it doesn't.
Good point. It doesn't.
It does not.
because he's a peon. Because at the end of the day, he could turn him out.
They could put another Republican in his place where he running at. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like it's
A bad state.
the numbers are going to be Republican anyway.
Yeah, and
He's
he'll
not
just
winning. He's not winning states for you.
That's what I'm saying. He's not an influence. Like on the other
Yeah.
hand, when you look at it, Shapiro wasn't polling as good as an influencer as Walsh was. They actually had released that data 2 days before she made the decision, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's not true. You can't listen to data." I got to start remembering this man's name, but whatever that man is that had that 13-point tier system,
Lichtman.
Yeah.
Lichtman.
I'm a Lippman man rule until he go wrong. That's the data I'm going to. Anything he say, I'm going to dig into it. So I'm a Lichtman theory man because you can't go against the man that predicted the last 8 presidents. Come on, man.
Lichtman said you don't use any polls. Don't use all of the actual data.
Yeah,
Use the actual data and it'll take you there.
So what was the current Littman poll at right?
Well, the thing
He
is,
said that he hadn't been able to do numbers yet.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mike.
On Shapiro, he was just saying Shapiro's only been a governor for 1 year. He needs to do more work in his actual state, and he had power, but they don't believe he had enough power where if he left as governor versus staying as governor would hurt or help Pennsylvania. So it was basically like, as long as he's on board, he still has the potential of flipping that state in the same capacity he had the potential of flipping it if he came on as VP. So his odds remain the same, but he didn't have the odds in the Midwest and the relatability because Shapiro is still Jewish. There is still anti-Semitic people out there. There's still things out there. So what that put Walsh in the position was dad jokes, relatable issues, veteran, and as well as all that, more experience because he was a governor for 6 years, so he would only be missing 2 years of his term. Even if that's a 2-term state, I don't know if
he was also in federal government too. He was also a congressman. So he's been everywhere.
And he polled greatly. Not polled. He already had support of a lot of large unions.
Yeah.
That was his biggest strength. So
I mean, I love his energy.
I think
Walsh is good.
I think the Democrats made a decision too that they want to try to dominate the Midwest and get states that they don't normally get. This decided that Arizona was going to be a toss-up for them because they still are pretty close there, and that Pennsylvania that they think they can still win Pennsylvania with Philadelphia and
as long as he's talking and getting them out there right.
As long as he's going there.
I
just made a decision on that.
I think it's the dad jokes that's going to win it over for him. He's going to have
that dude.
He's going to have a relatable humor because he was a coach. And as a coach, said you were a coach, so what's the main thing with a coach? You know how to come to other people's level to motivate them and to encourage them when they doubt themselves the most.
You got to.
That's a skill set. That's a huge skill set of leadership. So if he can get into the rural cities and them core cities where VP Harris really wouldn't make an influence because she came from California, she might have a little bit of money in the bank, she might wear expensive jewelry. He gets to come in, and I know he's not, but I'm just saying he would get to come in the wind suit and some New Balances and relate to people.
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this publicly. Y'all be surprised. Them
you got the last word too.
Y'all be surprised. Them Midwest states look a little purplish this year.
I'm not gonna be surprised.
That Missouri, Kansas, down from Minnesota, we know Michigan gonna turn blue. Michigan and Minnesota gonna be blue, but them other ones right below it, Mexico gonna go turn purple this year, and it's gonna be a different look. And so I just want to say that. I mean, like I said, he's relatable.
It won't surprise me one bit.
I'm not surprised.
He speaks on the common man level.
Yeah.
He relates everything, even the interviews he done on Fox and MSNBC, like with the weird Republicans, like How you gonna do IVF? That's how I got my daughter here. Like, how you gonna get rid of IVF? How you
Unfortunately,
gonna do this
it's just called
women's
effective communication.
They good. Or being an orator, just talking. Mike, like I tell you and said, y'all need to be public speakers all the damn time.
But just think about what you just said though. The IVF issue affects
A lot of
everybody. It is not just liberal, conservatives. It affects everybody. So on record, conservatives may go on record and say, "Oh, we're gonna vote this way, whatever." Man, when these people go to the polls and stuff like IVF and abortion and women's rights and all that stuff is actually on the ballot, physically on the ballot in these states, when they got elected, they lose every time. They lose every time because people are not going to say, "I want you to control my body." That's not how it works. That's why I said I wouldn't be surprised at all if these states are purple come November 5th. Not gonna be surprised at all because that is doable because people do not want their rights trampled on either side. Nobody wants that. And if they can carry some of these Midwest states, and I know I said you was gonna have the last word, I ended up having it.
You're good.
But if they get these Midwest states, then all of that's taken care of. We purple, and we kind of can escape the orange terror, and maybe, like you suggested earlier, this dude will just be done and just get the fuck out the way because he is irritating as fuck.
Like I can't listen him and JD now. I can't even listen to him more than 15
it's crazy,
seconds.
Man.
Like it's just
so we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the xenophobic attacks and name calling, and I want to kind of combine that with the overwhelming popularity in the groups for Kamala. My question is, does this momentum, which I know we probably all on this call would love to happen, does this momentum surge all the way into November? Does the honeymoon ever stop?
I don't think
Mike,
so.
you got this one.
I don't think it stops because of you now have a different combat. You have people like I've been watching these 19-year-olds, 21-year-olds on TikTok, right? And they've gotten into the weeds where they've changed. They've removed emotional debates and they're having the debates about policies. And so we was talking about it strategy-wise. And strategy-wise, I think this is why the honeymoon phase continues. Because the format of questions have changed. And this is also how I engage now. This young man, he's 19 years old. And I think his name is Kyle or something like that. But he's on TikTok. But the premise of how he responded to, so people either come on and it's like, okay, so you want to vote for Trump. Tell me why. And they'll start off and they'll say something. And he'll be like, okay, so the question is, do you actually know what a president and a vice president does? And some of them will say no, some of them will say yes, but most of them respond no. And he'll be like, okay, so you do understand they write, he's like, well, they have executive power. He's like, right. So they help with legislation and bills that would impact your life. That's all they can do. He's like, and they were like, oh yeah, I know that. He was like, okay, great. So tell me what policy, legislation or bill did they put in place that's impacted your life? They can't answer that question. Most people can't respond to that. That's his first defense. The second defense is, tell me what bills or legislation did Trump put into place to help your life? Most of them can't answer that question. Now they will say taxes. Some people have said taxes. So his response is, oh, so you have a corporation that's made over $400,000 where you were able to receive a 20% tax cut. They were like, no, I just had more money in my pocket. And I think he says it's the causation. It's the affiliation of causation. It's something like that. I got to remember the phrase.
That's what he uses.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was like, do you understand the affiliation of causation? And they'll be like, no, but I think I do. He'll be like, okay, so do you blame Donald Trump for 1 million people dying? And they'll be like, of course not. It was like, but COVID happened when it was Trump's term. Mm-hmm. It was like, but it wasn't his fault. He was like, great. So do you blame Trump for 1.4 million jobs, net jobs being lost? No. COVID happened. It wasn't his control. So how do you now blame Biden and Harris for gas prices and food prices going up? And they be like, well, because it's what I'm going through right now. I didn't ask you what you were going through. If you can't blame Trump for job losses and deaths, how can you blame Harris and Biden for food prices and gas prices? What legislation did they write to increase the price of food? What legislation did they write to increase the price of gas? And then, of course, it's like, they'll say something like, but wait, you can't do that. Because you have to remember at the beginning of our conversation, you agreed the president and vice president can only implement laws and legislation that impact your life.
There you go.
The fact that 19-year-olds are destroying their peers and 50-year-olds with that, Republicans are starting to lose, because when they get to the point where they're like, of course Trump lies. We know he lies. That's just a part of it. But my life was better. Fine. If you're accepting the lie, let me teach you Poly 101 and let's get into civics and see if you can have a common conversation. And I believe you're having that more, where people are having to stop and realize, wait, that actually didn't impact my life. So like I had somebody that was like, oh, the price of everything is going up. I was like, but you do realize, and she's in financial industry. This is a 46-year-old woman that's in the financial industry.
Right.
I said, you do realize Fortune 500 companies are seeing record profits. I don't know if that's true. I didn't know that. So I sent her a list of the 50 companies that I could find immediately.
Wait. You said she was a financial person and she ain't know that?
She works at a bank.
Lying. So lying. She lying.
And then
so
everybody's worried about it because the
now.
stock market's crashing. Oh, the stock market's going down.
The market ain't crashing.
I was about
It
to
ain't
say,
crashing.
That wasn't
It's doing its normal thing.
It wasn't
it's a
even
correction.
That.
That's a small correction.
It was a small correction, but it was a play, and it was a jab at retail. It was a jab at retail stocks, because it was people panicked, and while they was panicking, all them billionaires went and bought more stock when everybody was selling off, because they was like, I'm losing everything.
You saw what Buffett did. Buffett bought sold his shit. The next person came in and bought the shit he sold, and then he bought all of Berkshire Hathaway, because he betting on some shit for the future right now.
They let everybody panic because everybody's caught up. So my point is, I don't think it goes away, because granted, I hate to say this, although CNN has definitely failed us with any form of accurate fact checking.
I don't even watch them no more.
Joy Reid, Rachel Maddow are going hard in the paint for fact checking. But outside of that, the social platforms have become, tell me what it's basically almost like talking to a little kid. What did they do to hurt you? And nobody can answer that question. So until people can answer that question, every time I ask somebody that, if you can't answer that question, I can't have a conversation with you, because I can list the legislations that were put into place that bettered my life. I can also list the ones that hurt my livelihood. You can't list either one of them. You're no longer voting for a party. You're voting for a person. So we're not the same.
I just want to add real quick. I watched one last night with this social influence guy named Byron Hall or whatever it is, a white guy.
Okay.
And this black kid came on and cooked him. When I mean cooked him, he took every point that he made and literally screenshotted and fact checked every point. So Kamala did all this. So you're not gonna vote for her because she did all this? Well, she, like you say, Mike, she did her job. And I saw another one where I saw another young cat where he literally pulled up all of the bills that were sponsored by VP Harris, put them, say these bills didn't help you. I think a couple of them was for voting, a couple of them was for.
She did a lot for civil rights, women's rights,
civil rights, women's rights, all that stuff. I'm not gonna go into minutia, but she did a lot of stuff when she was a senator. And so I'm glad to see that the younger audience, whatever they labeled them now, I'm glad to see the younger audience now taking the tools that they have in social media and stuff like that and using it to call out these dudes and call out these people who say, I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z, when they don't, like you said, they don't have the facts. They just doing it because of emotion. It's a talking point. Like I put on my new thing. Say like, hey, let me know when you want to take your emotion out of it, and let's get to
you got to take the emotion out of it, because anytime that you say something, just like Mike says that the young guys doing, like I like the white guy that goes to the rallies. He does his stuff on YouTube a lot, but he goes to the rallies and he
question the Trump people.
Yeah.
Luke Beasley or something like that. Luke.
That's his name. Yeah, he's funny.
So Trump's still president, huh?
But anytime you say something, just as small as the economy is bad, okay, what does that mean? Does it mean that your economy is bad? Is everybody's economy bad? I mean, it can't be. It's all about you, and then I'm just gonna vote just for whatever, or I'm gonna vote for this guy because this guy sounds good, or he appears to be tough, or he looks strong, or whatever the fuck it is. These people get how they get off with voting for Trump and some of these policies or whatever they got going on. The whole point, I stay on the social contract. I stay on the humanity side of this. You should be looking out. We have an obligation, citizen to citizen, to make sure that everybody's okay. All right. Mm-hmm. I don't have to give you the money out of my pocket to make sure that you're okay. But I'm not going to vote your ass out of a house and put you on the street while I'm over here chilling in my 6-7 room mansion or whatever I got going on. However many rooms come to mansion. What's the mansion limit? Or the start? Whatever it is. But I'm not gonna do that to a person. And people, they literally have lost what civility means. Like all of this stuff that Mike talked about in his talk about this, a lot of this stuff boils down to a civility question. Mm-hmm. And civics. We even had civics on the topic list for this. But man, what the fuck do you know? You don't know anything.
Everybody, they're just emotional because they don't have the money they used to have.
There you go.
And like you said, implementation because of causation. You're not paying attention to the fact that this is called a recovery from a pandemic. Yep. It wouldn't matter who was the president at the time. The only thing they're relating it to is, at this moment, I am broke, so I must be broke because of the policies or because Biden is the president. That's all they know. And so, unfortunately,
they want a check.
It's hard to talk. Yeah, and it's hard to talk to I hate to say this. It's hard to talk to a starving person while you sitting there chewing on your food. Yeah. And
I get that.
The only way I put the empathy into place when it comes to that is, I can understand what you're going through, but I pay the same price for food that you pay. Mm-hmm. When you go to the gas pump, I don't get a discount because I voted for Biden. So we're going through the same thing. But what I can tell you is, I know there's no legislation that Biden put in place that made the gas prices go up.
No.
I do know
that's
that.
That's not even how that works.
I do know there's no reason why it's now $11 and something cent to get a Whopper with some fries. And it's less fries that come with that Whopper than it used to.
Less Whopper.
Yeah, there was no legislation that put into that. And I was like, but you can't say it's only affecting you because guess what? Again, as we stated before, these companies and these CEOs are seeing record profits. So,
and they found out how to keep those profits with less workforce too. Mm-hmm. So
if anything,
they're laying people off, and they're making more money, and they learned that through the pandemic.
Because they were like, you know what, people gonna complain about customer service, but guess what, they still need us. So you can complain about Walmart. So yeah, you might go to Walmart at 10 o'clock. It ain't nothing but self-serve and one register open. Guess what? You don't have a choice. That's why you're shopping at Walmart. Now, when it mattered when you could have stopped Walmart, and most of the things people are complaining about are actually the deregulations that were put in place by the Republicans, where the Democrats tried to regulate a lot of this stuff to remove a lot of the monopolies that are in place right now.
Yeah.
So when you tell them that, I'm like, do you realize there was regulations that the Democrats tried to vote on to stop exactly what you're going through? I don't know about that. I got to research it. You should have researched it before you said what you said. But the truth is, you're not researching the information I'm giving you. You didn't even realize there's regulations that they tried to put in place to stop this. The regulations were based around the Chevron Act and to make sure people couldn't have monopolies. But guess what? The conservative Supreme Court, which is still not the president, the conservative Supreme Court has rolled back those very things that were protecting you. Like in Florida, the biggest thing I tell people about Florida, and if all of us can relate, and I hope it's not true, and if it's true, I definitely might not be owning a house no time soon. They're saying because of these last couple of storms, Citizens, which is one of the last few places to insure home, might have to go up 100%. We got into the home insurance issues we have in Florida all the way back with Hurricane Michael and other hurricanes because DeSantis did not want to accept that federal funding because it was coming from a Democrat.
Yeah. Shit before that, well, MetLife, when I was working at Bankers, MetLife had to pull all the way out of the damn state.
But it was because they wouldn't want to accept federal because it was going to be regulated. It would have been regulated how much they could charge you.
Well, at the time, that was Rick Scott then.
Yeah.
Rick Scott then.
So your own state has been screwing you over, but your state has been Republican ran by the last 20 plus years. So who are you blaming?
They pointed blame again. So that goes into local elections or your area elections. Because you got to think
policies in general. You just got to know policies. Understand policies and the rules.
Well, rolling back into that question with the xenophobic attacks and these name calls, a lot of policy is generated on fear of xenophobic fear. This kind of stuff is generated off of the things that we are talking about right now. And
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm happy you brought it back because it was a tangent, but that was actually encompassing what I'm saying. They put people into so much of, you ran out of resorts of knowing the truth. So the easiest thing to do is call somebody a name or to have this fear mongering put into place. Because if somebody sits, imagine what happens if me, you, Dante, imagine if all of us went to different groups and we said, tell us the 4 things that bother you the most. And they listed those 4 things. And we were able to show them, here are the 4 bills that impacted those 4 things the most. And this is who voted against your very interest. Most people will realize they're not actually conservative. I'm sorry. I think most people don't realize conservative is more so I would say a religious mindset, because I don't understand when somebody says I'm more so conservative. How are you more so conservative? Are you more so conservative because you think you like to spend money? Conservatives normally spend the most when they're in office. They spend the most
on the other stuff.
Yeah,
they gonna spend on everything else.
Yeah. So you're conservative, but you got $100,000 car. What are you conservative with? So I've started to ask more questions, Sid and Dante. I want to understand if people really can embrace immaculate communication to explain the shit they say. Because if I say to you, I'm going to work out, you'll be like, work out? But how are you working out? I'm sorry. I'm going to go to the gym and lift weights at a heavy capacity to have hypotherapy to increase my muscle mass. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. And if you're gonna lose
99% of the crowd you talk to when you say that.
But that's the point. If they say I don't get that, the response is I'm going to the gym to lift weights, right? So I can either explain the bill to you or I can tell you simply what the bill does. But you have to be willing to listen to the facts and remove the premise of your emotions, because the emotions are based off of misinformation. And you know what? I will give it to Donald Trump. He made a point. Fake news. The problem is he is the fakeness that we're speaking of. Mm-hmm. That's what people are missing.
Absolutely the fakeness.
I do believe, I would have to say this now, the news does a horrible job. Almost every time I watch the news after 17 minutes, I'll be like, man, let me turn on some Law and Order and learn some different debate strategies so I can listen.
I'll give you a great example of the news doing a terrible job. Shed, who's a dear friend of all ours, called me and says, man, what's up with this article saying that the markets are plunging? I said, did they use the word plunging? So it said, yeah. I was like, man, the markets are not plunging. I said, I sent them to the Barron's site. They usually have like a ticker of all of the markets at once, showing are they up or down. Mm-hmm. They were all down. But I said, I want you to look at the Barron's site and then look at the number, look at how the Dow started today, look at where it is now. And I said, you see some people that's down 1 or 2 points, that's not a plunge.
Yeah.
I said 14 years ago, the Dow was at what, 10,000?
Yeah.
10,000 or something like that. I said we at 38,000. That's not a plunge, bro.
At all.
Just chill out. But the media created what the markets and what the people behind the markets were doing. They created some more, added to it.
And I would think that's one of the things when we said we kind of want to inform people on different things, and it's not just politics. I believe that's one of the problems we have going on right now. People have to understand traditional news outlets are now competing with 19 and 20-year-olds with their own platform and their own voice. You have to understand there are social media influencers that have bigger paychecks than some of your most well-known TV media representatives. Especially, I would say, unless in New York, LA, and not even Miami. Besides New York and LA, a lot of influencers are making more money than anyone you see on TV.
Oh yeah,
and they're competing with them.
True.
So they're now at the point. Media has gotten to the point where it has to compromise its integrity of how they vocalize stuff to make it seem worse than what it is. The storm definitely impacted some people, but if you look at the way this storm was talked about, and I'm just talking about Debbie. If you look at the way Debbie was talked about versus how
a week before.
Yeah, versus how Hurricane Michael was talked about. Hurricane Michael was a Category 5 and didn't get the kind of coverage that a tropical storm, possible Category 1 got. But they've learned the system. And I, as a originator agency, we do social media marketing for a government entity. If I put up anything that is the premise of fear, like hurricane preparedness, just a hurricane might be coming this way, it gets more responses than if I say you guys have just won a procurement to rebuild this community. People just now, they thrive off of, it's like people just want to be the first. I think we have a dopamine addiction that we're not talking about.
Absolutely.
We have a whole and I'm not even saying I wasn't once a victim of it, but I purposely don't post as much content as I used to because I don't need that to be my thriller because it doesn't make me any money. But in 2 days, I literally sat down and I was like, is this possible? Right? And I'm talking about the media and we're talking about the influencers and we're talking about dopamine. I literally said, is this possible? I spent 2 days, 2 hours a day, and I ended up getting money from TikTok. I was like, I get it now. It's not a lot of money, but if you see that you sit in your house, sit in your bed, and just talk and debate it with people and you make money, that dopamine of doing a little of nothing that you would normally do at the gym or when drinking, and now you're getting paid for it. People have a dopamine addiction because then it comes with the, oh, I saw your debate. You're so smart. You got to talk to other people. Oh, I saw your debate. Do you mind if I call you up? I was like, oh, this is the addiction they talking about. And as soon as I went through it, I was like, yep, got to go to the gym because I needed to reset.
Yeah.
So we have a dopamine problem right now. As much as we talk about opioids, we have a dopamine problem.
I think I think a part of the dopamine too is distraction and fear.
Mm-hmm.
I really do believe that. I believe that a lot of that is a part of it too. It's just whatever pieces of that you can peddle. Can you peddle fear? can you peddle some amounts of joy? Can you peddle the distraction?
Hell, can you peddle pain? Because people want to know.
Can you
I'm
pain?
I'm not the only one going
Yeah.
through it. Oh, your boyfriend cheated on you? Cool. My boyfriend cheated on me 8 years ago.
The relationship thing. That relationship thing is big too on TikTok and YouTube and the channels.
I want to relate a couple
Go ahead.
things. It's like a 30-minute news cycle. So like you watch the 6 o'clock or the 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock news. The first 5 to 7 minutes is about all the crime happened locally. The next
Or weather. It depends.
Oh yeah, it depends on if it's a storm, depending on the area. Yeah. Next 5 minutes is, the shit that's happening on a national level or international level. Then there's weather. Then there's sports, and then they try to hit you off with a joy moment. This fucking life is how social media cycles run as well. Also, too, I want to touch on one more point before we go to the next question, because I know you're about to roll to the next question.
Yeah.
Mike, you made a point. He said, I don't know if conservatives are conservative. Yes, you are absolutely right by that statement, sir. Let me tell you why. Because here we talk about, they talk about the border all the damn time. There is a Republican-sponsored border bill got shut down by Republicans in Senate. Congress passed it. Senate blocked it.
It was a bipartisan
bill sponsored by a Republican, got all the Democrats to buy behind it, got the fucking Senate and failed. So
because of who though?
Trump.
Yeah. That's the reason.
Until Republicans of any state that touches water comes together to put together a bill for human trafficking and slave labor and the labor trade, they don't really care about the borders. It's just a good talking point. Because people are still thriving off of you complaining about the prices of your fruits and vegetables now. Wait until you don't have immigrants to do that work for you. Find out what Alabama went through when they tried that.
And I can't wait till if Trump bring that up in a debate. I can't wait till Kamala cooks his ass. Be like, hold on, your Republicans down the bill twice.
Well, she's already done that. She's done that. But the thing I think with what you're saying, the Democrats actually have to go further. Democrats need to go back to that 3-question system that I asked. If Democrats can pull them out of the weeds and force them to talk about legislation, it'll actually change the dynamics of the conversation. The problem is Democrats play in two. Now, granted, we got some snappy people. So now we got people with the comebacks. But if you stop playing, we're pandering into what they want us to go into. Because that's how they win their audience. Their audience doesn't care about facts and information. Because I can't tell you how many times I've talked to a Republican and stuff they've talked about. I was able to pull up legislation and be like, you realize your party voted against the very thing you want right now, right? If we can pull them that way, it would be a more dominant situation. Because no matter what, Republicans have always had a mindset since Reaganomics of the trickle-down economics, which they will forever continue to try to give the highest tax cuts to the wealthiest. And their mindset is, if they're doing better, you'll do better too. And so my thing
That's
is,
definitely not happening.
Right. So my thing is, they're doing their best right now. Why aren't you doing better? This is the time where you should be able to prove trickle-down economics. So why aren't you making more money? Because it doesn't work. A rich person doesn't say, you know what? I made an extra $10 million. Let me give this to my employees.
Absolutely not.
They say I make an extra $10 million. Maybe I should buy a yacht.
That shit.
Maybe I should buy a yacht. Maybe I should go get on this.
Pay for a quarterback.
Maybe I should get flown off to space and be in space for 3 minutes and come back. That's what they spend their money on.
Or here's another novel idea. How can I make another $10 million?
Right.
That's what they're doing. Hey, how can I stuff my pockets and how much is enough? You know what I mean? I absolutely think that from a perspective that I'm coming from, I think that the Democrats and liberals should be working everything at once. Like everything should be going at once. They should have somebody attacking border policy They should have somebody attacking economics while the president and vice president, presumptive nominees, are campaigning. There should be somebody out doing exactly everything that the country is complaining about. They should be out campaigning on just that one thing.
Almost like a strategic
15,
cabinet
16.
surrogate or something, like a cabinet surrogate.
Yeah. And it's all, I haven't published it yet, but I wrote something about how Trump and the Republicans, they practice a lot of asymmetrical warfare. Even though their warfare is just, dishing out a bunch of hate and all that kind of stuff. They hit you from all kind of angles with all of the stupid shit that they have going on. None of it's productive, but Democrats could do the same thing and be actually productive with it and actually hit on all of these issues. The ones that they're strong on, the ones that they're weak on, and the ones that nobody's even thought about as being political issues yet. They could just be out there just hitting everything. It's enough of them out there. It's an election season. So, like, hell, just get out there and just if you're trying to win, let's just go out there and just try to dominate the entire country.
Right.
And just do it and stop letting the talking points be just the VP and the presidential nominees. Let everybody else do the talking too, and everybody stay on message for the message that they have to take to the country.
They need to just
what I'm saying?
They should put that whole strategic team together under the belt of Pete Buttigieg. Pete will take care of it.
I think they're doing it though.
Yeah.
I mean, low key doing it. I know we talking about it, but
Yeah.
Pete has been like, that's what I love about the Democrats this season. Even though nobody's giving their props.
Yeah.
Pete, Shapiro, Kelly. Who's the governor of Arizona? I think it's Kelly. I think is the name. I can't think of dude's name. The astronaut.
Kelly's a son. He's not the governor. He's a Congress. Who is
the VP from out of Arizona?
Actually, if you look at it in a different way, though, Dante, they are doing it, but they're actually doing it in a whole different strategic way. Nobody's paying attention to.
Yeah.
They see the decrease. They see the decreased value because right now they're putting a heavy amount of money into social media and influencers.
Yeah.
There's a decreased value of doing it in the media that we would traditionally see. They actually are doing it. They're just not doing it traditional way because you gained 40 million new voters in that younger demographic. You've lost 20 million baby boomers.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know what? The best way, and I hope my numbers are right because I know it's not 2 million and 4 million. That would be too low. But I think strategically the way that they're doing it is the best way. Because think about it. What does Kamala Harris, VP Harris, what would she gain by doing an interview with CNN?
Nothing.
Not a goddamn thing.
Nothing at all.
What does she gain by doing? And I'm just gonna list them because get to edit this part because this is one of those clips. What does VP Harris gain by doing an interview with CNN?
Nothing.
MSNBC.
Absolutely nothing.
MSNBC.
Nothing.
She get more fame with those stage interviews on her phone.
All of the rallies, all of the dancing, all of the laughing, that's pulling more mileage than anything she can ever get on network.
So right now, this goes back to money. The networks they're starving for content. Because in my opinion, what truthfully got Trump into office in the first place was he was an attention draw as a quote unquote laughing stock into politics. There's no way this man is going to become president. But what that garnished him was an amount of airtime that he couldn't have paid for if he wanted to.
He got free paid media.
So now she's like,
earned media.
Because they have to have like the data person that Obama team have. Because somebody is sitting there saying, hey, check this out. We could put you on TV, but we could get you hooked up with this influencer and it'll stay in the news cycle longer. It'll stay in cycle and get reshared with people that are trying to figure out their voice versus going with a left-leaning platform where most people that are watching you are already going to vote for you. They're saying what they're saying because their thing is, we need her on TV because we can charge more for advertisement when we call people and say, hey, we're going to have VP Harris on from 7 to 8. Do you want to run a commercial during that time frame? They don't have no prime time spots. That's their problem.
And also they highlight on social media clips.
I mean, the whole thing is amorphous, and I think it needs to stay amorphous. Just Just do that and just keep it moving.
Yeah, to win in an untraditional format, I think if she wins without doing the interviews, quote unquote, that they want her to do, it will put people into the mind frame. This could be the first time you disrupt media, because it can become, what do you mean? Well, you're not doing any media. Everything they want to ask me, it's on my webpage. Everything they want to ask me is being shared on social media. You want to know how I feel? Look down at your phone. If you want to know how I feel, come to this rally. If you want to know how I feel, come to this town hall. I do not need to express my feelings to people that have allowed, but even better, not even that. I don't need to express my feelings to networks that have allowed somebody to lie 80% of the time that they're talking, and you don't cut them off and fact check them. Why would I come on that platform? So it's like me, Dante, you my homeboy, but I'm like, what you mean? If 80% of the time that you cook for me, you got me sick, guess what? I might still hang out with you, but I'm coming with my own food.
Dog, they starving, man. The network
First of all, let me be very clear that Mike eats all my food.
Right, but that's my point. But if I come to you and I'm like, yo, the food is good, I'm gonna keep eating. But if 80% of the time I come there, I'm like, yo, every time I eat this cat food, I'm sick. Does that mean I don't like you? No, I'm just gonna be like, bro, you hungry? Nah, I already ate. And that's the point. She's pulling stuff off their plate, and they don't know what to do with it.
This is the consummate.
I want to make one point. Just like for instance, just to add to that, Tim Wall's the most thing I've been seeing in my cycle of my social media is the clip of him and his daughter at the Minnesota State Fair.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the one I've been seeing is can he get up off the couch?
Mind your own business.
Oh, and that one too. And that one too.
But that's what I'm saying.
Good one too, though.
It's chopped up. It's chopped.
He got 2 zingers and 1 wholesome one out there. He's good to go.
And he came up with the weird thing. That was him that came up with
the weird Republican.
The weird quote.
So he got, and as we say, the reason why our company name is what our company name is, he got the medium 4 appeal. He got 4 key points. That's all he need. He didn't cover 4 areas. Yeah. He got the wholesome. He got the humor, he got the zinger, and he got the creative approach. What else do he need at this point? What's the value of him going on TV?
No, I just want to.
You'll like this. You'll like this though. This basically is the networks and you cooking macaroni and cheese. Networks are using Kraft slices.
I need to work on my macaroni and cheese. That's what for the holiday season I'm gonna have a better macaroni and cheese.
And you got the 4 blended cheese where you doing stuff in the oven and on the grill.
They ain't even using the slices. They just taking the box and using the powdered cheese.
They doing the government. Yeah, they doing powdered cheese.
Powdered
wow. Okay. All right. That's nasty.
Right. But you know what? That's exactly what the networks are doing right now. The networks are nasty because there's only so many times I can hear Wolf Blitzer say breaking news when it happened 8 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So, but hold on.
I don't like the breaking news on any other networks because they use it all day. But go ahead, Dante.
I just want to say this one thing. Jack Tapper had a different attitude. Jake Tapper. Mm-hmm. Jake Tapper had a different attitude at the VP Harris Walls rally in Pennsylvania. Because
Jake jumps back and forth too much for me, man.
He jumps back and forth.
If he can stay consistent with what you're talking about, I would.
I'm just saying he had it. I still don't like Van Jones, and I don't like
the only people
I don't like Harris Faulkner. Harris Faulkner black.
I watch Laura Coates because I know that she tries to keep things on a level head, and I like the black lawyer that comes on with the bald head, that comes on with Ellie. I hate Ellie Honig. I don't. Oh, you know what? Hate is a strong word. I don't even know this dude personally. I do not care. I do not care for his commentary because his commentary is always slanted to what he would do and never open-ended about what the actual situation is. Yeah. Like, dude, you don't work in the U.S. prosecutor's office anymore. You are a analyst now. Get on there and analyze. Stop doing all that bullshit about what your personal take is on these cases and shit. That's besides the point. Nobody's even tuning in to watch you. So why the fuck we care about what your take is, right? But the black guy always reels him in and saying, wait a minute, that's not how this shit goes. You know that's not how this goes. Why are you doing that? And anyway, I'm off on a tangent. But anyway, the macaroni
No,
and cheese
it
thing,
mattered.
dog,
It
that's
mattered.
what this is. That's all this is. This is some nasty ass macaroni and cheese over here, and your grandma's macaroni and cheese over here, and this shit is at the person that you don't know's house is fucking fucked up. You want the real shit.
It's macaroni and cheese with red peppers. They just trying to throw stuff in there to see if it
Throw
works.
something in there.
Some raisins.
Yeah, chicken
Like-
salad with
like-
the raisins in it.
like-
I do, but you know what? I actually have had some with that in it. It don't taste that bad. Go ahead.
Chicken-
Not the macaroni and cheese. Not the macaroni and cheese. Talking about the chicken salad with the raisins in it. I've had that.
I was about to say, if you're gonna do the yellow, you might as well put green and red peppers in there so you have a whole flag.
No.
or something. Let's
No,
just go for
I'm good, bro.
Let's go for all contrasting colors.
I'm gonna move. Okay, so we'll move on. So this is right down y'all alley because y'all just got finished going through the certification stuff, and it's mostly about DEI.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I can get that right, but but we want to talk about all the common misperceptions about DEI as it pertains to affirmative action and minority certification programs, and I also want to add in why DEI has the connotation of you're not good enough, but we had to pick you anyway because you're a part of a quota system. Either one of y'all can take that one first. I don't, it's
All
up to y'all.
Let me go ahead and get back into my more professional tone. The reason why you have that,
Okay.
I would say your core premise of it is because it's more than misinformation. A lot of people think DEI automatically gives you an opportunity. It was put into place just to equal out the playing field. That's number one. Number two, most of your diversity, equity, and inclusion didn't have anything to do with hiring and pay. It was normally from interdiscrimination within the office place for cultural sensitivities to understand the sensitivities and the cultural differences of everybody else. One of the things in DEI that had nothing to do with job hires could be something like the Crown Act, where black women and black men were not allowed to wear their hair in a natural state. So they could have locks, and that was considered, oh, well, it's hair past this and past that. Whereas a white woman could have hair down to the middle of her back because that was quote unquote her natural state. But a black woman could have dreads and she would have to cut her hair. It wasn't just about the hiring process. Now, the other thing is DEI, the rollback of the actual affirmative action that put this into motion, was based off of students saying that they were not getting into colleges because of DEI placement. Well, the truth is DEI placement was put into place to offset legacy placement, where legacy students that didn't have SAT scores, ATC scores, or GPAs as high as other black students were still getting accepted and getting spots into the school. Discrimination was placed. Their legacy settings are still into place. On a business level, DEI is just, and I hate to say this, on one element you can see mediocrity coming from someone with multiple opportunities, where you can see excellence coming from somebody else and they will still get overlooked. And if you take everything I said and if you wanted to simplify it, to admit that we need DEI and the reason why people don't want to accept it, to admit we need DEI would be the forceful element to now admit that we have a systematic problem still in America when it comes to racism. So now let's remove job hires and let's remove everything else. If you just look at the systematic element of the justice system, if all three of us were together, none of us are convicted felons, none of us have even misdemeanors, we might have speeding tickets. If all three of us committed a cyber crime or any kind of crime together as a group, us three, all of us, college educated entrepreneurs, if we committed a crime and three white men with the exact same status committed the same crime, there is a 70 to 80% chance that we would receive a harsher sentence, or we would actually receive a sentence and they would receive probation.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a premise of how I feel. This is data that you can get off of the ppis.org, prosecutorial performance indicators, and you can actually ask for the stats from your state attorneys that will show you the prosecution rates for crimes. And the amount of diversion that white men get a higher amount of diversion for probation versus black men getting sentenced for the exact same crimes. So
this would have been good for Chuck to talk on. Go ahead.
So the reason why you don't want to admit to that is because you would have to start off on whole different levels. If you admit to DEI, you have to admit to redlining. If you admit to DEI, you have to admit to gerrymandering. If you admit to DEI, you have to admit to the discrimination of loans and mortgages that were placed against black people when trying to obtain loans for their homes. I think we're actually underestimating how smart they are by ducking and dodging that. Because the moment you admit that it's needed, it's opening the doors. So by rolling that back, it's saying we don't need that anymore. We're giving you guys the same fair chance. We're not saying we don't want to give you a fair chance. We just don't want to make it a law where people have to help you out. But it's a law that you're not allowed to discriminate, but the data shows you're still doing it.
Right.
And firsthand, and I'm definitely speaking for Dante at this point, the organization was not Gadsden County. This was Broward County Healthy Start. I still had my dreads at this point. This was the initial thing that made me cut off my dreads, and it was a sacrifice for my business. I was in there, and Dante will remember this. This man asked me about weed. I don't smoke. Especially at that time in my life, I didn't smoke.
But the first thing he saw was the dreads, and that's why he asked. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I was like...
He had well manicured dreads at that. So his dreads were like done.
Yeah, like we did a website for a salon so that I could keep my hair done every 2 weeks, right? And I was like, I'm honestly confused. I'm in my early 30s at that point. I'm like, I don't smoke. I was like, why? He's like, oh, you know, the hair. I'm sure you know where to get the good stuff at.
Wow. Wow.
Now, mind you, we're not in there for 5, 10. And this is also 12 years ago, maybe. We're in there for a $70,000 contract. At what we used to pay ourselves back then, $70,000 would have covered both of our salaries for the year. Because that's about how much we were paying ourselves. We were paying ourselves about $35,000, $40,000.
Okay.
I already lost that contract because this man assumed I was a drug dealer when I walked in. He wasn't taking me serious for my profession. Now, to add to that, and people might be like, oh, he could have just been joking around. Well, also when we walked in, they were like, well, when are the owners coming? Are you guys just here to... We was like, we own the company. Oh, so all this work, y'all actually did it?
Yeah.
It wasn't like we were...
But you speak so well. Go ahead. I'm just being funny.
No, I know, but it was
that shit is crazy to me, man.
We
crazy.
We purposely used to dress like tech bros. You know, we had the V-neck t-shirts, and the t-shirts with just the company logo on it. Jeans and some slacks with some... At this point, neither one of us were avid shoe collectors. So we had basic shoes. Sometimes we were when the sad to say we was wearing this, but that's when you had more so the jeans, the dress shoes, a t-shirt, and a blazer. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like we was just out of code. We didn't have on baggy clothes. Everything else was put together. We were in there with college degrees. So people have to understand discrimination is not 1964 and before. It's still happening. So I would say I purposely overspoke because most of the time when me and Dante talk about things like this, it's going to be overlapping because this has just been our experience. It's been too many places. We couldn't start a brewery. Said when we told you this story, but I get to say it on camera. When we started our brewery and we were trying to get investors, they said to us, black people drink beer.
So every time I hear that, that is too funny to me. That's too funny to me. I get that question too when I tell people I like to drink craft beer. You drink beer? Yeah, I drink beer.
And I was like,
the hell?
What do y'all mean? First of all, y'all stole everything from us. Y'all wanted the traditional stuff. When there was flavored malt liquor, y'all said that was ghetto and hood. But now a craft beer, now that a craft beer can be peanut butter and jelly flavored, it's cool. Right? You go look at the Commodores, Luther Vandross, Aretha Franklin. You go look at, back in the day when you got the show bill, when you were VIP. If you look at the bills of those concerts, sponsored by Schlitz Malt Liquor. Sponsored by
What's
like,
up, boy? What's up,
Colt
boy?
40, Colt 45.
What's up, boy? Name?
Old English.
What's up, boy? Name that played Lando Calrissian? What's his name?
I thought his name is Lando.
He did it.
You talking about the old black
No.
dude? Oh.
That played him. Yeah.
I'm thinking of Lando himself. I'm thinking of the actor himself.
That's what I'm talking about. The actual actor. What's his name?
I think
that ain't his name.
His name ain't Lando. You talking about the black man?
No. Lando was the character, ain't it? Yeah, that was
and
the
what?
character. I'm talking about what was his name?
The character in what? I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the actor Lando.
In Star Wars.
Oh, Samuel Jackson character? No,
the new
Carl Weathers.
Star Wars.
Carl Weathers.
Old Star Wars. Old Star Wars.
Carl, yeah.
I can't remember his name though. I think his name.
Talking about the recent one. Lando is Carl Weathers.
No, not that. Not him. Not him. The old one. Not no Carl Weathers.
Didn't he just die because he was a Mandalorian?
Not him. The old Lando Calrissian.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams. He did Colt 45.
Yeah.
That's who was the Colt 45 man.
I wasn't gonna let that.
But
go.
everything you talked about is all that structural racism stuff that I be writing about, man.
It ain't changed.
The policies and practices and attitudes and all of that shit towards race and towards culture, man. If we don't get up off the boat, bruh, they just gonna just cycle that shit right back to what Justice Thomas said. He wished he could legislate us all right back into pre-Reconstruction.
Yeah.
He said that in a quote that he wished he could just roll back all that legislation and do that. I'm like, man, what the fuck is wrong with you? My bad, I keep cussing. What is wrong with you, man?
I know. I'm gonna close out and keep this thing short because I already touched upon it. Like, we have a certification, and that's all I'm gonna say. And
we have an 8A certification. We fought for that shit.
Yeah. Well, I brought the question up because I've been seeing more people get on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff talking about certifications and how need to go about business, and it's mostly black women, of course.
And of course, they're lying because they don't tell you the struggles that you have to go through just to get it. So
just to get it,
just to get it. They just doing it for a ploy and try to make a quick get scheme. But when you get into the minutia of it all. So anyway, February rolled around, Black History Month, and we have been here because we have an agent that's down here in South Florida that we supposed to check in with our 8A certification X, Y, and Z. And they was having an event that they did literally on the last day. They was trying to do on the last day of the month. And we had told them that, like, y'all shouldn't do this month prior. Anyway, Mike had a quick conversation, Zoom call with the guy, and the event getting canceled. It's because they treat minority vendors like they're trash. They put us at the bottom of the barrel. They put us at the last. I don't think we're capable of fulfilling a contract when our capabilities and our capability statements lapse other vendors that are not non-minority. So
actually, if you're gonna go there, say the part that you're not saying. Let me tell you what you know how we say words matter?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
The money said when you're in an 8A certification program.
Yeah.
This is literally what they call the money for those programs. Set aside.
Especially for minority, for small.
That's not a that's not a hypothetical.
So they actually label it set aside because I know what the minimums are and all that kind of stuff, what the contracts are, or whatever.
It is
but they
called
call it
set aside. Set aside funding is what.
They actually sent out emails saying, "Hey, we got set aside contracts."
Wow.
Now imagine if you sat down at the table and I'm eating with 20 people. Because this is statistically what it relates to. It's a dinner, big table, 20 people. And you and Dante are the only two black men there. I give the food to everybody else. And I say, hey, by the way, here go y'all set asides. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that they don't tell you is primarily most people that get 8A certified money are still partnered with a PWI organization. And they need the 8As to get the money. So you're playing the game to win the game. So that's just the truth
basically,
of it.
So basically, the contracts get awarded. Money is set aside from the contract so that somebody black can come on, somebody disadvantaged can come on with the 8A to satisfy the larger contract.
The quota of the larger contract.
So it's basically your goal is for the contract, you want to show on paper, like it's going to happen to us and we're going to milk it for what it's worth. But you get a $10 million contract, we might make $1 million, but we don't do anything. We might make $400,000. All we get to do is manage and put it on our resume.
Right, because they need your name on the statement. Okay.
So your goal is you would learn the experience, even though you have the experience. You get it added on your resume, even though you could have did the job on your own. But they don't trust you because you don't have the records that these other people, but you never got the opportunity to show it.
Right.
And you got to think
because it's structurally racist. Right.
But you got to think the part that makes it worse for us. We're not talking about, well, you want us to build a bridge and we never built a bridge before. We're talking about you want us to design a social media marketing campaign, or you want us to design a website or a logo. I designed my first logo when I was 15 years old. So it's not like it's something new, you know?
Right.
It's just, and as Dante said, to go back to one of the points he made very early on, if somebody tells you, come to this class, we'll get you 8A certified in the weekend, save your money, call us. It's going to cost you about $1,500 plus, and it's going to take you anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half to get that certification.
I already know how long it takes because I watched Dante do all the paperwork.
And by the way, if you did anything wrong in life,
I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this shit.
If you did anything wrong in life, it's going to come up when you go through that certification process. They found
They do the background, right? No, they do the background checks.
It's almost like getting the clearance level because they bought up a ticket from 2003 on me from North Carolina. No, 2001,
Right.
2002. It was like a 2002 ticket from North Carolina that they bought up on me to make sure it had been paid. It was duplicated in the North Carolina system. And so that's how deep they go. So trust me, if you got anything,
these state systems don't communicate.
Oh, and another thing, since I like to inform people, if you're not using a accounting platform, meaning if you're not on something equivalent to QuickBooks, don't apply. Don't apply. You're not getting in. Because they're going to run you through the ringer with their paperwork.
You got no time to get your books in order. You have to literally give
books together. They're going to come at you.
You have to, when they ask you for a 90-day.
Everything.
What you call them? A 90-day, like your last 90 days, or what you call them? They want it then. What's your last 90 days now?
Yeah. Some kind of income statement or something.
Yeah.
They want it now.
It's 90
now,
days with a reflection of what 5 to 10 years look like, truthfully.
Yeah. They want your last 90 days, but it's going to take them 30 days to review.
Yeah. I got you. Craziness.
Anyway, what's the last question, bro? We done?
We said that was the last one. Yeah, we're gonna move. No, we're gonna go on to what y'all listening to and what your trial drunker is today.
I'll go ahead and answer. I'm still on Spotify right now, man. First of all, download Dante ain't been popping like he used to, so that one music drive ain't live like it used to be. Hey, don't be cutting me off. I'm doing my time. I'm doing my part. But there's like this. I'm still on that new level R&B. You got some artists that's trying to tap back into that 90s, 2000 R&B.
Were they actually singing?
Yeah, I still don't listen to, so that's what I'm listening to on Spotify. My town drunk, I didn't have one, but since we missed a couple of weeks, it's not him. But since we missed a couple of weeks, I'm gonna have to say, what's the boy? I can't even think of his name. I was about to say What's the dude name? The
Van
black
Jones?
dude that's Van Jones. Yes, Van Jones
Van
is definitely
Jones.
my town.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Van Jones is the person that drink a little too much and they start crying about everything.
Yeah.
He remind me of the person that when they get drunk, they just get overly sensitive about everything. And Van Jones, brother, the stuff you cried about, it wasn't even worth crying. And honestly, you may never see this, but I'll never appreciate you for what you did to the Prince Roger Nelson's estate.
Oh yeah.
You should have defended them from ever get. As Jay-Z said, he put slave on the side of his face. Do you ever think he wanted his masters with the master? So you should have been there to tell that family. Ain't no way Prince would have ever wanted his masters to go back to Warner Brothers.
Right.
Y'all could have made that money on y'all own. Y'all could have made a whole. Prince could have had his own streaming platform, and his fans would have paid $9.99 a month if you would have once a month released unreleased music. You should have never gave those masters back to the master.
Dante?
My town drunk was JD, but I'm not gonna even waste my energy on him. So, my town drunk is going to be Harris Faulkner for the day because she's low hanging fruit.
Who?
Harris Faulkner. She's Fox commentator.
Chick from Fox, yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead. She's an idiot. Go
Like,
ahead.
you
My
should
boy
have
dropping some bombs. I didn't even know who she was. Go ahead.
You should have did better at the NAJB. Oh, that's actually who my town drunk was.
She looks like she looks like a live zombie. That's what she looks like.
So
She looks like an anime.
Living.
She looks like She looks like a Pixar.
y'all interrupt
witch.
my.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I had to look at her. She looked weird.
She's pretty evil looking. Go ahead.
So Harris Faulkner and NABJ, but I'm gonna give NAGB.
Man, you better get them initials right, boy. We know a whole lot of journalists major.
NABJ. I'm gonna give them a pass because Tia came on and explained why they booked Trump. But on the other side of that, they should have gave the VP Harris a Zoom actual ad because again, it was in the same time in which Sheila Jackson Lee's funeral was. So they should have made accommodations for her. So that's my town drunk. So don't say I don't be down because I ain't been downloading crap either myself. I actually been listening to old stuff. I've been listening to some old Janet Jackson.
Well, it don't have to be new. That's what I'm
No.
saying. What you listening to?
And I'm making Mr. because he ain't got nothing to download. I've been listening to old Janet Jackson.
Oh.
Funny How Time Flies, Lonely. I've been listening to all her slow stuff. And been making radio stations on Spotify, Tidal, whatever, off of that. So
Gotcha.
That's what I've been listening to.
Can I just say something real quick since Dante brought up that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
We don't have nothing wrong with those acronyms as branding people.
What?
NABJ?
Oh, yeah.
Look, I was.
I guess when you put it that way, yeah. All right.
I
guess so.
Some things don't need to be acronyms.
That's one.
It needs to be National Black Journalists, not National Association of Black Journalists. National Black Journalists.
While we're here, just do me a favor. Just entertain me so the guests can do it with y'all too.
Oh Lord.
For the last 2 minutes, let us close out. Just go look at the logo.
It's terrible.
No.
What, NABJ?
Just Google NABJ and look at the logo that comes up.
I'm doing it now. I'm looking.
And then just see how the whole BJ part becomes even worse.
Because the J go underneath the B.
Yeah, but also look at the microphone. And it's down.
Hold on. I'm
Hold on,
Googling.
I ain't put it up yet. Hold on.
You know, Michael ruins everything when it comes to the stuff you never paid attention to.
I just want to see the actual logo.
It has a pen and a
corner, but it's kind of small down there. Okay, I see it.
It looks it looks like a phallus symbol.
yeah.
Yeah.
All of them.
And But this I don't understand. They got this many communications people that's a part of this, and they've never even addressed that. That should be like
I'll give you one better.
simple.
A lot
That's
of
a simple thing to be addressed, though.
a lot of black
but say
organizations don't.
I'm not even talking about the way it looks now. I'm just talking about just in general. It looks like they never. This looks like this is the same shit they had in the 70s.
But let me tell you,
Maybe.
this is what confused me, and this is what I would like NABJ to address.
Okay.
Why don't y'all have a live streaming platform at this point? Why are you relying on mainstream? Why
They literally
is this
could
not-
have their own news organization. Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
isn't this a news organization?
Yeah.
We don't think big enough. Y'all doing this
Why-
just
yeah.
to say what we not getting with the people. Why ain't you just doing
Hell,
your own?
Byron Allen owned like 1 million damn TV stations. Why is it not?
Okay, and I'm glad you brought that up. I don't like the Fox shit with the HBCU
Go.
games. I don't like that.
Oh, giving it.
No.
But it's only
they
showing
got a
on- it's
deal with
on-
Fox now.
No, it's showing on his Fox stations.
Yeah. But
'Cause
I'm
he
just
owns-
saying,
Still
it's
giving credit to Fox though. It's still giving Rupert Murdoch the money.
It's still Fox. I don't like that shit. But I understand. I understand what Byron's trying to do. But
I'm just saying it ain't
I don't
no
know.
reason that NABJ can't do what we're doing right now and have a TikTok and a YouTube platform and stream, even if you don't want to build nothing right now. There's no reason why you can't stream live content and do more fact checking, because we know more people aren't reading and stuff. You're media professionals. Why aren't you using your brand to do live streaming content? You could be all over this, because I guarantee you this. If you didn't want to Zoom with her, get your ass on TikTok and get VP Harris to agree to do a live TikTok stream with you. You'll probably make more money from the streams and stuff from TikTok, which I have to say,
you definitely gonna break the internet. Go ahead.
which I have to say, I'm starting to, I hate to say this, I'm starting to get worried about what's going to happen to our social media economy if they proceed with banning TikTok in the United States of America. It's going to be tough.
That's a good concern.
It's going to be a burden to lift, and I don't think YouTube or Meta is ready to take on that responsibility.
Nah, because the models are too different. My town drunk though is always gonna from now until the November 5th is gonna be Stephen Miller.
I ain't seen him in a while.
Voldemort. That dude is like Voldemort to me. That cat there he said some wild ass shit the other night, man, and I just looked and I'm like, this man is freaking scary. Now he wasn't on a national interview. This was on a social media.
Are you
interview
talking
somewhere.
about Voldemort from Dexter's Laboratory?
No, Voldemort from what's the Harry Potter Voldemort.
Oh,
He looks like him.
I was thinking about
The man with the dude with no face and no nose dude.
Oh, I get you. I was thinking about Voldemort
Yeah.
from Dexter's Laboratory. Kind of the same
Oh
kind of
Lord. Yeah, I used to love Dexter too back in the day. That's my dude, man. So I like Dexter. But that's my town drunk. I've been messing around with a bunch of different music. So I've been messing around with this platform called Soundful that does it takes loops and packs and stuff together, and you can kind of like generate your own beats and your own tracks.
Oh, does it make
I just
it
only been
when you do it? Does
I've
it make
only
the
been-
music royalty free?
If you pay, yeah, you got to pay. You gotta get on the pay system, but yeah, they even got enterprise packages on here.
Oh, that's dope.
I've just been you know how some of these services have these stem packs, and you can get on there, you can buy the packs, and you can build all these loops and all that kind of stuff. It's the same kind of platform.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I've been messing around with.
That's
Nothing
what's
heavy.
up. Well, fellas, I appreciate
Well-
it. This was a good one.
Yeah. Chuck will be back with us next week, and we'll all be back with I Can Drink to That. I appreciate everybody, and we will talk soon.
Sounds good.
Peace.